Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're here to take a fascinating subject, sift through a whole lot of research, and, well, really boil it down to the key insights for you.
Exactly. We know you want to get up to speed quickly, have those aha moments, but without getting bogged down.
And today, we're diving into the world of a really compelling artist, Bob Camblin.
Compelling is definitely the word. He was respected, his work's highly sought after, but he himself is, well, quite an enigma.
Totally. And we've got some great material to work with, excerpts from his own writings, a biography, bits from Zen and the Art of Enlightenment, Volume 1, which he illustrated and contributed to.
Right, and there's that YouTube transcript connected to the book too, plus some historical context, even a quote from a close friend, which is pretty revealing.
So our mission today is to really try and, get a handle on Camblin's artistic thinking. How did his style evolve? What are those big themes that keep popping up in his art and his writings?
We're aiming for that comprehensive view, but keeping it digestible, hitting those key takeaways.
Okay, let's start at the beginning. Bob Camblin, born in Oklahoma in 1928, and it sounds like art was just around him from day one.
Yeah, absolutely. Both parents were artists, so he had that exposure very early on. He was even art director for his high school yearbook, so the talent was there.
And his hometown, Ponca City, back in the 30s and 40s, that seems to have left a subtle mark, too.
It does. You think about things like the huge Marland estate there,
Yeah.
or the Pioneer Woman statue. The biography suggests maybe you could even find little nods to his mother, Viva, his own pioneer woman, like maybe a hidden VV in his paintings.
Huh, interesting. Like these big symbolic local things maybe seeped in.
Could be. Those early landscapes, both physical and symbolic, often do.
And it wasn't just local stuff. Apparently, The Wizard of Oz, the movie, made a real impression.
Yeah, which is fascinating when you think about it later. The journey, illusion, reality.
Hmm.
Maybe those themes resonated early on.
He also had this key friendship, right, with Forrest Harrisberger.
Right. Started in high school. They drew together, sure. But it sounds like reading was the big connection. They'd even cut class to read.
And what they were reading is telling, too. Emerson, the I Ching, haiku.
Exactly. You see those seeds, right? Transcendentalism, Eastern thought, concise expression. It kind of foreshadows where he goes later.
And they kept that connection going, even sketching together during Air Force Reserve time in California.
Then comes the Fulbright. Italy. That seems like a massive moment.
Huge. He was apparently just captivated by everything, the old masters, representative art, but also Impressionism, the light.
And he called Venice his Emerald City.
Ha! There it is again, the Oz connection.
It really stuck. But Italy wasn't just the Uffizi, was it?
No, the biography mentions the Capuchin catacombs in Palermo. Those mummies, as he called them.
Right, those abstract figurative forms. It's quite a contrast, isn't it? The height of Renaissance art and then these stark reminders of mortality. You can imagine how that might feed into an artist's mind.
And we see direct results, like his Birth of Venus painting, or Flora with its hidden stuff.
Yeah, he's already playing with layers, referencing tradition, but putting his own spin, his own secrets into it. That idea of looking closer starts early.
So after Italy, he comes back, works as a map maker for a bit, interestingly.
Which maybe connects to that precision we see later. Who knows?
And then he starts teaching. Ringling, Illinois, Detroit, Utah, Rice. Quite a tour.
Yeah, teaching seems important for a while, engaging with ideas, sharing them, maybe grounding him before things got, well, more nomadic later.
Which brings us to his philosophy, how his art evolved. The bio says his art wanted to bypass criticism, bypass the market, and just speak soul to soul. That's ambitious.
It really is. It points to this core idea. Art as direct experience, not just an object or a commodity. Connecting deeply emotionally beyond just intellectual analysis. That seems key.
And the style changes reflect that. Early 50s, it's social protest, heavy outlines, flat colors.
Yeah, quite direct, quite explicit commentary for the time.
But then it shifts in the mid-50s. Social realism meets non-objectivity. How does that work?
Well, it's like he's interested in both the real world, the human condition, and purely abstract forms. So he starts blending them, trying to depict the subjective world using human symbols, influenced by Cremoni, Etruscan figures, moving inwards,
Okay. And then drawings become the main event. Not just sketches, but huge finished pieces.
Right, and he incorporates the corrections, white gouache, pasted paper right into the work.
Which is interesting. It's like acknowledging the process, the imperfections.
Exactly, like in The Descent from the Cross, which is full of his personal symbols. It's about layering meaning, layering experience right there on the paper.
Then the 60s, he's trying to mix Hugo van der Goes's poetic feel with Goya's emotional intensity. That's quite a combo.
It is. Poetic ambiguity meets raw emotion. And he's physically aging the paper, too, adding that sense of time. Plus those series of masks paintings.
Right, hinting at identity, hidden selves, and a more muted color palette.
Yeah, to harmonize with the drawings, keep the focus there.
Then Houston in the 70s sounds like things really opened up, blending impressionism, surrealism, cubism.
It's like he just threw the rule book out, using whatever styles, whatever media he needed to get at these mystical, subjective states. No limits.
And the hidden meanings, the secrets, become even more central. Themes of life cycles, metamorphosis. He called it an enigmatic search for life's mysteries.
That's a great phrase for it. And the imagery gets really potent.
Puppets, scarecrows, skulls, these murky water reliquaries, very symbolic. Maybe influences from writers like Kazantzakis or Grass.
Could be. Those writers definitely explored similar existential symbolic territory. But Camblin wanted us to interpret it right. Use your own Gestalt psychologist, he said.
Yeah, he wanted that active engagement. And he had that playful side, too, about seriousness versus humor in art.
Definitely. Even with heavy themes, there wasn't this overwhelming solemnity.
Moving into the 80s, it's drawings and watercolors woven together, creating deep, illusionistic surfaces.
Yeah, hinting at hidden layers, stratagems. It's like he's doubling down on the idea of secrets, of needing to look past the surface.
He really wants the viewer to slow down, engage with the draftsmanship, and find those hidden bits over time.
Exactly. It's not instant gratification art. It's art that rewards patience, contemplation. That's how you get to really know it, in his view.
Okay, so let's pull out some of those key themes that run through all this. Metamorphosis seems huge.
Oh, definitely. You see it everywhere. His comments on cottonwood trees aging, the scarecrows turning into myths, using things like lobster shells, larva shells.
It's this constant idea of change, transformation.
Fundamental, yeah. Not just physical change, but ideas changing, perception changing, the self changing. It's a core lens for him.
And balance, that comes up explicitly in his quotes. His perfectly average view.
Right.
Finding the middle way between science and magic.
Right. Rejecting extremes. Appreciating the nuance, the gray areas where opposites meet.
Related to that, maybe, is common sense. He wanted to stick with it, he said, to enjoy miracles on both sides.
It's like a practical grounding, maybe. Stay rooted, but keep your eyes open for wonder. A grounded approach to the extraordinary.
Then there's intuition versus logic. He stresses needing both, right? But that mystics knows something else.
Yeah, that classic tension. He valued both reason and that other kind of knowing, the intuitive leap, different paths to understanding.
This idea of stepping off the train of thought, that's fascinating. As a way to find power, do non-work, laugh genuinely.
And not letting the demon of being right get in the way.
It's like disrupting your own habits of thinking, right? Making space.
Exactly. Letting go of rigidity, ego, being more fluid. Like when you stop trying so hard to solve a problem and the answer just pops in.
We also see that shift from art for art's sake to something more personal, art for life's sake, or even art for survival's sake.
Yeah, moving away from just aesthetics.
Mm.
Art becomes deeply tied to living, surviving, navigating the world. More essential, somehow.
And seeing versus looking, learning to really see, accepting failure as part of it, valuing the process.
It's about active engagement, not just a superficial glance. Really observing and realizing that mistakes or failures are just part of how you learn and discover. It's relevant for anyone, really. How actively are we seeing the world around us?
He also talked about nonverbal communication,
Yeah.
drawing as primal, syntax as maybe limiting.
Right, how pictures came before written words. He felt visual language could tap into something deeper, more holistic maybe, than linear sentences always can.
And that people get conditioned thinking there's a right way to draw. He wanted us to recreate.
Yeah, break free from those learned constraints. Find a more direct, intuitive way to express.
Then you have these more elusive ideas, the mystic switch, finding your own truth, which changes.
Yeah, very personal, evolving sense of truth.
Everyone being a mirror, that being magic.
That interconnectedness, yeah. How we reflect each other.
And deception and seeing, how real seeing creates a whirlpool of relationships. Art only captures part of it.
These are definitely more poetic, philosophical probes into reality, perception, connection, reminding us that what we see isn't always simple, and that deep looking connects us.
He also saw the artist as totally free, just committed by desire. and maybe moving towards participatory art.
Shows that independent streak again, questioning roles, maybe wanting more interaction with the audience.
He had thoughts on explanation too, didn't he? Like the symbolists, thinking explaining kills the art.
Right. Communication is wonderful, but also kind of sad, he felt, because you can't really transfer a feeling, only an idea. Feeling comes from experience.
Knowledge versus feeling. You can't just tell someone how something feels.
Exactly. Language has limits when it comes to raw experience, which is maybe why visual art was so important to him.
And this comforting idea, no mistakes, we're always doing our best. Mistakes are just guidance.
It's a very forgiving view, isn't it? Trust the process. What looks like an error might be redirection. Very process-oriented.
The hologram idea, a clearer picture emerges through cooperation. Makes sense given his collaborations.
Yeah, combining perspectives gives you a fuller view, like us putting these different sources together to understand him better.
And living in past, present, future all at once, using history to dream of how it works.
That sense of time being connected, learning from the past to grasp the present and imagine the future.
That painting, Woman on a Bus, from the Zen book, seems to pull a lot of this together. Stillness and motion.
Absolutely. That serene figure against the busy, abstract background, then meditation, layers of thought like layers of clothing, the I Ching hexagram about keeping still.
The YouTube transcript mentions it too, inner calm, outer chaos. Observing without attachment, like the Tao Te Ching.
It's a perfect visual for that balance, the inner stillness you can find even when everything around you is moving.
Which leads us to his own life, his enigmatic nature, his departure. 1976, leaving academia for a nomadic life. That's a huge step.
A massive pivot, walking away from the established career path to follow his own vision, completely independently.
Traveling, drawing inspiration from different cultures, and then signing work anonymous or Mr. Peanut.
Yeah, letting go of personal recognition, focusing on the work, not the name. And Mr. Peanut adds that layer of playful mystery again.
Later, moving to Oregon, then Louisiana, and cutting off contact with his Houston friends.
Which just deepens the enigma, doesn't it?
Yeah.
A desire for solitude, a complete break. We don't really know.
And of course, his work becomes scarce, which just makes it more sought after.
Naturally. Rarity and mystery definitely increase the allure in the art world. He gained a kind of legendary status.
That quote from his friend Earl Staley is quite moving, remembering him as a gregarious storyteller. Their collaborations, that Wizard's Den studio.
Yeah, it gives a glimpse of the person behind the enigma, the Mr. Peanut persona, the sudden departure. Staley also mentions how hard it was for them to even get a museum show together for him in Houston later on.
Really underscores his withdrawal, doesn't it? Even his supporters faced hurdles.
It does. It shows how deliberate that break from the established art world was.
So wrapping up this deep dive, it's been a journey through a really complex, constantly shifting artistic life, exploring perception, reality, the inner self.
Definitely. He defied easy labels, always evolving, always pushing. And ultimately, his work asks us to look deeper, question what we see, interpret for ourselves.
Hopefully for everyone listening, this gave you some of those aha moments, that deeper understanding we were aiming for.
Yeah, Camblin's work really invites that kind of personal discovery, peeling back the layers.
So maybe a final thought to leave you with. Thinking about Camblin's focus on seeing versus just looking and all those hidden meanings. What's a potential hidden message in your own daily life that you maybe haven't truly seen yet? And perhaps where's the balance right now between logic and intuition and how you seek out knowledge? Could shifting that balance a little open up a new way of seeing for you?